video, guys. And if you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, you can go ahead and super chat that in. Appreciate the support, guys. Let's keep it going. Let's get into this whole Joe Kent situation. We got what pretty much Ted Cruz talking down on a real American hero, but all right, let's hear the fat ass out.
There's been some. Ted Cruz joins us now, Republican senator from Texas. Senator, always good to have you on the program. I appreciate it. There's been some reaction on Capitol Hill today to the resignation of Joe Kent, top counterterrorism official within the administration. What's yours?
Well, listen, if any official in the administration disagrees with the national security policies of the president, he or she should resign. And Mr. Kent apparently vigorously disagreed with the president's decision. I think President Trump was exactly right to act to protect America and protect.
No. Look, this is the same guy that says I became a senator to serve Israel. So let's be real. You're lying when it says to protect Americans. No, this is to protect Israel. Trust me. If there was no imminent threat to Israel, because Iran is an imminent threat to Israel, not the United States of America. So that's the only reason why he gives a damn.
America from the threats posed by Iran. The reason President Trump launched this military.
Hey, and shout out to my man, Dr. Tariq Muhammad. Shout out to you, my friend. He sent a lucky clover for 4 jewels. Appreciate the support. But yeah, you're not for America, bro. And trust me, like I said, if this wasn't an imminent threat to Israel, I'm gonna be real with you, we would not be in this war, sadly. And the reason I say sadly, because it goes to show that we're willing to get into conflicts for Israel, which is wild, by the way. And we're in it now. We're in it now.
Military attack on Iran is because for 47 years, Iran has been the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism. The Iranian regime has killed nearly 1,000 Americans. They provided over 90% of the funding to Hamas, Hezbollah, to the Houthis.
That's true.
And the Ayatollah, who is no longer with us, not once but twice, hired hitmen to try to murder President Trump. And so President Trump, as commander-in-chief, made the resolute decision to act to protect Americans, to keep Americans safer. Mr. Kent apparently disagreed with that. And so if that's the case, resignation was the right course of action.
Senator, as you well know, Kent's resignation letter touched on something that had.
Here's a problem with that whole, Iran sent people to go assassinate Trump. Now, when we caught the guy, yeah, he said that Iran told him to go, a plan to attack the president. Iran reached out. He said we need a plan within 5 to 7 days, but he never reached out to Iran. And this is the weird story. And this is the weird part about that story. We never confirmed if he was actually talking to Iran. We're just going on for what he says. Pretty much. And I'm not saying that what he's saying is wrong. I mean, it's all possible that Iran would want to take out Trump because, I mean, let's be real. I think even Iran probably seen this only escalating with Trump and maybe getting him out the way would be their best plan. I can see that. But when I'm reading through that case file, when I'm reading through what the FBI was marking down and what he testified or what he told the FBI, yeah, they was never able to conclude that he was actually talking to Iranian officials. Sadly. Which is weird, by the way, because you would think they would, try to conclude that for us. But the man did come out. He did say that Iran hired him to go out there and assassinate Trump. So we got to take that at his word at that point. I would love a little bit more confirmation on the Iranian, side, but it is what it is.
Has created some divisions within the MAGA or America First movement. That Israel, in order.
Oh, guys, man, let's go ahead and try to get the 10 likes, man. We got about 17 of y'all in here, so go ahead and double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support.
Either pressured or talked the president into this conflict. I'd like you to evaluate that.
So I actually think there are very few divisions. There are a few loudmouth commentators. There are people like Tucker Carlson, who has become the most rabidly anti-Israel commentator, ostensibly on the right. He also has become one of the leading.
Bro, how is he anti? I'm gonna be real with you. How is any of us anti-Israel when we're asking Israel not to get into war over their own safety? Because guess what? The Israelis that don't want this war, that probably didn't even know Netanyahu was walking them into this, are getting bombed right now by Hezbollah and Iran. So I'm sorry, but shoot, I think I'm speaking more for the Israeli people than you are. Because your language is putting them in danger. I'm saying maybe they should, tone it down, maybe get their leader up out of there because we need a regime change in Israel, if anything, so they don't walk themselves into these wars that put their people in danger. I mean, I don't know. I think that's pretty pro-Israel. And People like to say I'm anti-Israel. Anti-Israel. Oh Lord. Or they'll say, oh, you have Israel derangement syndrome. Okay, just because I want innocent Israelis not to get caught up in a war that they really didn't really have too much of a say in. I'm the anti-Israel guy. Got you.
Defenders of Iran. He has been a vocal defender of Islamists. He has defended Hamas, said he didn't think they were a terrorist organization. Tucker Carlson has suggested we should apologize to the family of Osama bin Laden. I think those are extreme positions. That is not where Republicans are. That is not where conservatives are. Republicans are overwhelmingly standing with President Trump. And just because Tucker Carlson and a handful of other mouthpieces online decide to embrace a radical isolationist view that is deeply anti-Israel and that is an apologist for radical Islamists, it doesn't mean that's where the voters are. I think the voters, and the polling shows this, at least on the Republican side of the aisle, are overwhelmingly, nearly 90%, standing with President Trump because he's acting boldly to keep America safe.
Do you want to name check anyone else on that side in addition to Tucker Carlson?
I guarantee you, if you ask everybody who voted for Trump in the election, I'm pretty sure a lot of guys who are just frustrated with Trump over this didn't want to get involved in that poll. And I've been running these polls for about what? I don't know. Before I got shadow banned and all this good stuff, I was getting polls in at like, let's see here. What was the last poll? It was like 1,400 people who voted on that poll asking, oh, do you support the war with Iran? And what was it like? Most of y'all said no. Most of y'all said no. It was 67% no and 33% yes out of 1,400 votes. I mean, shoot, give me y'all numbers at this point, because man, y'all talking BS if you're really trying to say 90% of MAGA supports this, when trust me, like Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson have huge followings, huge. That alone probably makes up for probably about, I don't know, at least maybe 30% of MAGA, at least 30. So y'all just saying that 90% support this is lunacy.
Listen, there are plenty. Tucker, I think, has been the most vocal. He's been the most harmful. I said last week, I think Tucker Carlson is the most dangerous demagogue in America. And I do think the poison they're spreading, it is getting some purchase with young people, with teenagers and 20-somethings. And I think it is an obligation of all of us to stand up and speak out. Look, I've also been vocal that I'm concerned about efforts to divide faithful Catholics from evangelical Christians, Protestants. I think that Catholics and Protestants standing together has been really the foundation of the conservative movements for many decades. And those who are seeking to sow dissension are really, their ultimate end is to see the Democrats win, to see the conservative coalition fractured. That'd be tragic for America. I don't think it's going to happen. And I think those who are spending money.
This is crazy type of gaslighting right here. This is A1 gas. Like I said, if you don't support this war, you hate Jews, you're anti-Israel. Oh, yes. And you're un-American and you support terrorists. It's like, what? That's how you know this is all propaganda. If you got to sit there and shame anybody, even people who fought actual wars, and try to call them un-American and try to slander their name when they know 10 times more than you on the subject. And bro, and this guy Joe Kent, I'm gonna be real with you. When you look this guy up, guys, know what? Like, bro, look up this guy Joe Kent, because I trust what he's saying more than honestly what most of these guys are saying. Honestly, shit, I'll tell you this. I know I trust it more than what Trump's saying, more than what Ted Cruz is saying. Why? Because the man got history. He do. And he got skin in the game. He's lost somebody due to these forever wars. He lost his wife in this shit. And we just want to disrespect that point of view. Because let me show you my boy Joe Kent. Because this is my guy now. This is my guy. I mean, me and Joe Kent, that's my N word right there. But all right, check this out. Because I was bringing this up. The Intelligence Support Act. Like, bro, check this out. Let me big screen it for you guys. Look at this, guys. This is what he was a part of. This right here. So, of course, Army Special Forces Intelligence Support Activity, also known at various times as Mission Support, Office of Military Support, Field Operations Group, Studies and Analysis Activity, and Tactical Concept Activity, Tactical Support Team. These are the guys that game plan this shit. These are the guys that get the intelligence that's going down on Iran, get the political temperature on the ground, and report it back to the president and be like, yo, yeah, if you wanted to try regime change, this was going down, this will be our odds, and this is what most likely is going to happen. This guy has all the experience in the world, but now, oh my God, he hates Israel. He's anti-Jewish. Oh my goodness. It's like, man, shut the hell up. He got more experience than most of y'all. All of us, really. Bro, Special Activities Center is the center. Bro, check, is the center of the United States Central Intelligence Agency. This bro basically CIA. He's been working with intelligence and a good part of his military career. Well, probably outside of the military is when he did that. A good part of it. So to sit here and say, oh, you don't know what he's talking about. I mean, bro, this man will walk circles around you in that topic. Let's be honest here. He's actually been through this before. He lost a wife to this shit. And we're just supposed to sit there and say he's un-American? That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, and shout out to my man Noah Joyner. He says, don't got Venmo, but keep it up, big dog. We need to go. Yeah, we need to go through who we have and who we have as allies, and only keep those who want to be bettered, who want to better the human race. Yeah, true. No, I'm all for that. Look, man, I'm all for peace, love, and happiness. I'm all for getting along with old enemies and all this good stuff, which I thought we were doing, to be quite honest with you. But I should have seen it from a mile away. As soon as I start seeing let's hate all the Muslims and all this good stuff, I'm just like, we kind of got to be cool with these Muslims. One, because a good amount of them are holding up our economy right now. Yeah, through purchasing our weapons and buying all these AI ventures and all that good stuff. They're the ones holding it up right now. So it's kind of wild how we hate these guys, but they're helping us out more than Israel. But I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that, even though it's true. But yeah, I really just don't get it. And I seen this coming because I'm just like, all right, so if we're over here want to have all the distrust in the world from Muslims and all this good stuff, then what makes you think that we're going to have the mindset to work things out with Iran? And here's the thing. We've did very duplicitous negotiation tactics against Iran, but for some reason people are supporting it. I mean, think about it like this, guys. In the JCPOA, we pretty much went against our word. We went against our word as well, Americans, and the government did. And for all of a sudden, we go against our word, and because it's Iran, because they're Muslims, it's okay. Really? So it's okay to not be a man of our word? Like, isn't that supposed to be like a value of ours, to have honesty and be a man of your word? Because I'll be real with you. I mean, what does our word really mean once we just keep throwing it out the window like that? I mean, who's going to trust us when it comes to negotiations if this is how we negotiate? And we have people who support this. And I'm just like, bro, that's a slippery slope right there.
Trying to make that happen are very likely enemies of the United States, are nations like Qatar and China and Russia and others, I think, that are spending real money trying to damage America. But I think America is a lot stronger than a bunch of bots online.
And Senator, I'm going to get into the SAVE Act and a couple of other issues, but one last thing on Iran. You might have heard Charlie Daggett talking about two other significant people within the Iranian regime eliminated. That's the Israeli term. War is a blunt instrument, so let me ask you a blunt question. Can the U.S. and Israel, in tandem or separately, kill their way to regime change?
Look, I believe the objective here should be to collapse this regime. Why? Because this regime has been waging war with America for 47 years. As I said, they've killed nearly 1,000 Americans, and they are actively spending money. The Biden administration flowed over $100 billion to the Ayatollah, who would lead mobs chanting death to America. That made no sense. President Trump is taking a very simple position, which is if you are killing Americans, if you continue trying to kill Americans, the commander-in-chief is going to act to stop you. Now, we are not going to see a scenario where we see hundreds of thousands of American troops on the ground for an extended period of time. Iran is not Iraq. However, if we see this regime fall, if we see
Iran is not Iraq. You know what? You're right. It's just a little worse. They have better military tech, a bigger army. Yeah, I would be real with you. Probably a more stabilized, government. So I'm sorry, bro, but to sit there and say that Iran's not Iraq, that's probably the worst thing you can say for your point. Like, you're right. You're right. It's not Iraq. It's worse. It's worse, bro. But okay, bro. Okay, Ted Cruz.
government that is no longer led by a radical Islamist who wants to murder Americans and is actively murdering Americans, that will be a dramatic national security improvement for the United States. And I think that's why the president is acting. I think that's also why Israel is acting. Both are acting in their self-defense.
Is that worth boots on the ground?
The president,
bro, like I said, how are we acting in self-defense when we struck them first? And the only reason why we struck them first, I mean, I don't know, definitely Israel don't have the case for self-defense because they came and told us that they're going to strike Iran. So, I mean, bro, I get it. Israel has a right to defend themselves, but does Israel have the right to start wars? Like, that should be something we need to talk about because apparently Ted Cruz thinks it's all good and we should just frame it as, well, no, just as Israel defending themselves. Yeah, after attacking somebody, like, duh.
Has made clear that we're not going to see extended boots on the ground. I could envision an operation, perhaps something like what we saw in Venezuela, where there was Delta Force went in a 2-hour incursion, took on opposing fire, took out about 100 Cuban soldiers and apprehended Maduro and his wife, brought him back for federal charges and prosecution for being a narco-terrorist. By the way, that likewise made America much safer. I could envision limited boots on the ground for a specific objective, but I think the chance of anything like an extended occupation, the chances of that are zero.
Let's talk about what's before the Senate right now, the so-called Save America Act.
Yeah.
If enacted, it would require a birth certificate or a passport. Why not have a driver's license, which is a much more common, much more universal form of identification to meet this standard?
Well, because particularly Democrat states give driver's licenses to illegal aliens.
True.
And the Save America Act has two requirements, both of which are simple common sense. One, you have to demonstrate American citizenship to register to vote. That's just the first time.
Okay.
And two, when you show up to vote, you have to have a photo ID. Now, Major, the overwhelming majority.
So pretty much, I mean, yo, I support that. I mean, like I said, we should all support that, by the way. Just proving that you're a citizen to register to vote, then, of course, just showing up with voter ID, or not voter ID, yeah, but just having your ID. And let's be real, everything's going to be all good because you already proved that you're a citizen when you register to vote. And that's all we want. We just want to make sure that U.S. citizens are voting in U.S. elections. That's it. That's all.
Majority of Americans support those common sense provisions. Let's take photo ID. 81% of Americans support requiring a photo ID to vote. Interestingly, 75% of African Americans support requiring a photo ID to vote. Over 80% of Hispanics support requiring a photo ID to vote. And here's an amazing statistic. 70% of Democrats nationwide support requiring a photo ID to vote. So why are the Democrats doing everything?
Because the Democrats, I ain't gonna lie, it's funny. I heard a Democrat say this, be like, bro, we want voter ID because we're tired of MAGA complaining about stolen elections. So if we for sure make sure everybody's a citizen, MAGA can never say election is stolen again. And I was like, you know what? I don't care how you come to support it, as long as you support it. I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. You're kind of being a dick about it, but it is what it is. I don't care. As long as you are down with voters having to prove that they're U.S. citizens. That's all I care about. I don't care how you got to that conclusion. I ain't going to be mad at it. I ain't petty. But all right, though. Let's go ahead and get into the Joe Kent. But we're going to go ahead and hear from this guy because I know I got 2 clips and a 16-minute video with him and Tucker Carlson. So let's go ahead and get right into it, guys.
Is as a nation state, it's not Afghanistan. Let me just ask you one last question because he called it 60 years ago. You referred to what a war with Iran would do to the United States, and I don't know that a lot of people in this country fully understand what Iran is as a nation state. It's not Afghanistan. What do you think the immediate and then longer term effects of a war with Iran would be on the United States?
Immediately, it would be very bloody. I have no doubt that we could probably defeat some of their air defense and go in there and have another shock and awe campaign. But again, like we saw how the shock and awe campaign in Iraq really didn't actually work in the long run. So I have no doubt that we'd have some immediate results that people would cheer about.
And guys, just to be, I'm gonna go out, just to be a dick about it, I'm gonna stress the point of this man's credentials. Okay, 8th director of National Counterterrorism Center, which he basically just resigned from. But yeah, the units that this man has been in, like, you know, intelligence support activities, the guys who run all the intelligence on the ground and then relay it to the president or the generals on, and they make their moves off that. This is why he knows so much, and this is why we should honestly be listening to what the hell he's saying, because he's ran these numbers, he ran the analysis, he looked at the intelligence. He's one of the main people. I mean, bro, basically CIA, like Special Activities Center, what, the center of the United States Central Intelligence Agency, the censor. Like, he's basically CIA. He's been read in on all of these intelligence briefings, and we don't want to take what he's saying. We want to take what Ted Cruz is saying, who hasn't done any of this, none of this. But we're just gonna take what Ted Cruz is saying, though. Insane. But all right, let's get back to the professional here.
We could probably defeat some of their air defense and go in there and have another shock and awe campaign. But again, like we saw how the shock and awe campaign in Iraq really didn't actually work in the long run. So I have no doubt that we'd have some immediate results that people would cheer about here in the United States. But Iran, Persia, has always been an empire. It's been around longer than any of the other players in the modern Middle East right now, and they are not going anywhere. And right now, Iran has a lot of internal problem. They have a lot of internal strife with the Ayatollah and that government that's only been in power since 1979. But again, if we start conducting strikes in Iran, everyone in Iran will rally around their leader and they will become even more revolutionary. And then we will have Iranian proxies throughout the entire region that will be conducting attacks just
I'm gonna be real with you, and this is the equation that all the warmongers like to ignore, okay? This is what they like to ignore, is the fact that, like, yeah. Hold on, I'm sorry, I almost lost my point right there. But
everyone in Iran will rally.
There it is, the rally around the flag point. I'm sorry, but do you think recklessly bombing civilians and all this good stuff is gonna get them on our side? I'm gonna be real with you. We might have actually turned people who was against the regime who are now pro-regime because of what we're doing in Iran right now. Because we've done it before. There's been people who didn't give a damn about America who now gives a damn about what America is doing because we bombed some house that their family members were in. I'm sorry, but yeah, that's the problem here. We expect to go in there being liberators, but I mean, you know, we were just attacking civilian sites here. Like, there are 1,300 dead civilians, probably including the girls too. And we're talking, and this is Iran. So you think that's not going to radicalize some people against us who might have been anti-regime, but now they're looking at the dead bodies of a bunch of girls and now they're on the, oh, death to America chant, when it was just F the Ayatollah a week ago. So this is what it does. This is when you see your own people getting killed, it radicalizes you. What did 9/11 do to us? The same damn thing. Like, do we not get it now?
Around their leader, and they will become even more revolutionary. And then we will have Iranian proxies throughout the entire region that will be conducting attacks just like we had in Jordan. And really, in the long term, Tucker, the axis that has been built really since Putin invaded Russia, and we decided that since Putin invaded Ukraine, and we decided we were going to throw this massive sanctions package at them, China has come in as a major player, and we are deeply compromised by China. They control a lot of our economy. They control global manufacturing. They're deeply embedded in Wall Street, and they've also made deals with the Iranians. They want access to Iranian petro, not to mention the fact that Biden killed off U.S. energy independence, and now he's going after LNG, and the world's biggest LNG exporters are Iran, Russia, and Qatar. So this axis would become very powerful. If we get deeply involved and deeply entangled with Iran, we are playing right into China's hands, because China would like nothing more than for us to be committing our military industrial base to a war in Eastern Europe, in Ukraine, and then to be committing our conventional military power, our blood and our treasure, back in the Middle East. That will make the Pacific, our actual border, extremely vulnerable to Chinese aggression. Or China will simply just watch us bleed out economically as we bleed out on the battlefield on these couple different theaters. It's absolute insanity. It's opening up Pandora's box. And again, for what gain to the American people.
I mean, I think that's the most reasonable, common sense based, factual assessment I've seen of this from anyone.
I mean, honestly, why? Because, well, he was intelligence. Yes, he did work for basically the CIA. So to try to sit here and doubt this man's credentials like you don't know what he's talking about, I think that's just cope. And at that point, we're just attacking anybody who don't support the war in Iran or who's just calling it out for what it is.
I do think there is a lot of people, and a lot of them, like you pointed out, like Nancy Pelosi, are in their 80s, and they've always thought this way, this with us or against us mentality that says like,
oh no, I do need to speak on that. What was it? Tucker being in and what? And is Tucker's a fraud, an Iranian asset? Nah, Tucker's the realest one out there. I ain't gonna lie. Tucker, the realest one out there. He's the realest conservative that we got. Okay. Bro, if Tucker isn't MAGA, then we're all screwed, bro. If Tucker ain't make America first, we're all cooked. Nobody's putting in more work than Tucker Carlson. Let's just be real here. No, he's not an Iranian foreign asset. No. Want to know why? Because this is what Tucker does. When he spoke to Putin, that was the rawest thing ever. That was cold. And everybody got mad at him for it. I was like, that made it even better. Why? Because he actually goes out there and tries to hear the other side. 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty sure he was setting up, what was it? We're talking about the guy who's able to get an interview with the Iranian president. Okay? We're talking about that guy, Tucker Carlson. So most likely he was trying to get an interview with a higher official, probably even the Ayatollah himself. Most likely that he was working on. So an Iranian asset, I'm sorry, but I guess when you can't beat the truth, you got to cope. There is no way. No way. And the thing is, I mean, he came out, he talked about it. He said, you can prove it. This man don't need money. You know how much money he was making at Fox? You know how much money he's making on his podcast alone? This man don't need no money.
Hey, you're either for the next war, the most current war and the current thing, or you're with the terrorists. You just are kowtowing to Vladimir Putin. It's the exact same mentality that got us into the Iraq war. You're either with us or you're with the terrorists. And look, Tucker, I would love to come on here and defend neoconservatism as someone who, lost my late wife in these wars, as somebody who lost countless friends, as somebody who fought myself 11 combat deployments. I spent most of my 20s and 30s in Iraq. I would love to tell you it had worked, but it simply did not. And that's a very hard thing to admit. I get into arguments all the time with fellow veterans about this exact same topic. So I think a lot of this is literally the gambler's fallacy. There's a lot of people who think, hey, if we just keep trying, if we keep attempting to spread freedom through the barrel of a gun and trillions of US dollars, this time it's going to work. Let's just double down. And this is, how really nice casinos are built in Las Vegas off of this exact same mentality. So I think that combined with the financial interest from Lockheed Martin and every single defense contractor and, putting someone like Lloyd Austin as the Secretary of Defense, who's still on the board at Raytheon, I think that factor with that mentality and people not being able to admit that we got this wrong and then making adjustments to our policy, I think that gets us in this current situation, because it's actually challenging to thread the needle. Like, where do we go from here? We can't just let the Iranians attack and kill our people. Right. But at the same time, we know if we go to war with Iran, this is going to be a disaster. There's no data that says like, hey, maybe if we just go to a war with Iran this time, it's going to work out great. We've actually got to assess the past mistakes that we made, make adjustments, and then chart a more pragmatic way forward.
I mean, think about it. This has been this guy's job to do this. He was in the military doing this, but for some reason, he don't know what he's talking about, guys. But let's see what Ben Shapiro got to say about the man.
Center and issued a scathing letter designed to undermine President Trump. The letter Joe Kent quit his job at the National Counterterrorism Center and issued a scathing letter designed to undermine President Trump. The letter is deeply, deeply conspiratorial. It states openly that, quote, Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. Now, that is conspiracy trash. It's also kind of strange since President Trump has said that it's conspiracy trash. So apparently Trump is so deeply, deeply enthralled to those strange, powerful American lobbies. We're not going to say it. That he apparently has been so bamboozled by them that he's still under the impression that he's his own man. But here's the thing. President Trump is his own man. He makes his own decisions. And as per our usual...
Okay, Ben, as long as Trump is making the right decisions for Israel, yeah, it's all good with you. But when Trump wasn't making those decisions for Israel, you was an anti-Trumper. But as soon as you see that Trump was just a little bit pro-Israel, now you're all on this man's jock. I mean, Ben Shapiro, way to have a mask off moment, my friend.
Arrangement. Trump's critics are
Oh, guys, let's make sure to double tap that screen and like the video. And after the last video here, I'm gonna go ahead and open up the calling lines and have you guys up here. I want to hear y'all thoughts.
cowards who are simply unwilling to acknowledge that Trump is the one making the call. But Joe Kent continued, quote, early in this administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and sowed pre-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. This echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States and that should you strike now, there was a clear path to a swift victory.
Yeah.
This was a lie and is the same tactic the Israelis used to draw us into the disastrous Iraq war that cost our nation the lives of thousands of our best men and women.
He's cooking. He's cooking.
Again, the idea here seems to be that President Trump is a moron, misled into war by nefarious...
I'm weak. He did not say that. See, now you're just adding duplicity to it. You're saying that President Trump is a moron. No, he's saying, look, man, look, Trump, you're being misled. And it seems like this was the only way he'd be able to reach Trump is to make a public spectacle out of it, turning his resignation letter went viral, by the way. That's what's crazy about it. And as we're all reading it, we're all nodding our head like, yeah, everybody sees this. We're not even intelligence.
Israelis and unnamed influential members of the American media. Don't say it, don't say it. Again, apparently President Trump has no agency and no thoughts. Kent's letter is replete with this conspiratorial idiocy, including, as we just saw, the idea that it was Israel that forced the original Iraq war, an idea totally and utterly unsupportable by any evidence, given the fact that the actual prime minister of Israel at the time, Ariel Sharon, opposed the Iraq war. This stuff is brain rot. Now, listen, we should all be thankful for Joe Kent's long and honorable military service. We can also...
Hold on, but it was Benjamin Netanyahu who was out here coming to America saying that if we take out Saddam, we'll have positive reverberations throughout the Middle East. So, yeah, my friend, I get what you're saying. That, yeah, well, one politician wasn't in support of it, but the one that was in front of our Congress talking to them, informing them on it, yeah, he was the guy supporting it. And yeah, that president, he wasn't standing in front of our Congress the way Bibi was talking about if we take out Saddam, get involved in Iraq, positive reverberations throughout the Middle East. Like, Ben, please stop talking to people like they dumb.
So be glad that he's leaving, since his ideology is the same as that of Tucker Carlson, the guy who says that the war is disgusting and evil and who has been busy sexting with the mullahs. Tucker Carlson calls Kent a personal friend and, quote, the bravest man I know. Frankly, I think that it is a good thing that Kent is not in this position. We cannot have a director of counterterrorism who is somehow advocating preemptive surrender to the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism in the middle of a war.
I'm sorry, he says sexting with mullahs. I'm sorry, that's funny. That is funny. You could tell you don't like Tucker Carlson, obviously. That was hilarious. Oh, man. It's almost as funny as when what was it? Pierce Morgan called Ben Shapiro what a punk bitch. I was like, damn, it's getting real out here in the political streets. I love it. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this little clip right here, and then we're gonna go ahead and open up the call-in line. All righty, thought I did something stupid for a second there. All right, let's get back to it.
We've seen it coming, Tucker. We left our...
Yesterday, the Pentagon announced that 3 U.S. troops had been killed and dozens injured after a drone loaded with explosives struck them at a base in Jordan near the Syrian border. Now, none of that can be confirmed. The details, anyway, the location of the attack, and there's some question about whether that's true, but there is no question that American troops were killed yesterday. And the reaction to that, mixed with sadness, was highly political, in fact, even strategic. Within moments of this news breaking, Lindsey Graham, the Republican senator from South Carolina, called for blood. Quote, hit Iran now. Hit them hard, he tweeted. Nikki Haley, of course, piled on. Here's what she posted to X. Quote, as a military spouse, my heart breaks for the families who lost loved ones. This shows the barbaric nature.
And here's the thing, guys. Look, man, if we wanted a warmonger, we would have voted for Nikki Haley. I'm sorry, but Nikki Haley, there wasn't a war that she didn't want to get into. She was talking about going at Iran. She was talking about going at Russia. She was talking about going at everybody. So I'm just like, okay, yeah. Oh, and she's highly pro-Israel. I mean, honestly, she should have ran for the president of Israel the way her, the way her preliminaries went, or in some of her speeches. But To be honest, if we wanted a warmonger, Nikki Haley was our candidate. This is why she didn't win.
Nature of our enemies in Iran, and it shows that they would not be attacking our troops if Joe Biden weren't so weak in his treatment of Iran. We should retaliate with full force, the full force of American strength. It's the only way to prevent further war. If we do not, these attacks will continue. Interesting. All of this came immediately. They were joined by Wes Clark, the former presidential candidate and commander of NATO, and buffoons like John Cornyn, who apparently is a senator from Texas, etc., all saying the same thing. Let's go to war with Iran. They all said this in both sides. Here's Nancy Pelosi on CNN telling you yesterday that anyone who is not for this, who would like, say, a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, is working for Vladimir Putin.
For them to call for a ceasefire is Mr. Putin's message.
Wow.
Mr. Putin's message. Make no
Do
mistake.
you see the war propaganda? And this is the thing, though. This is why I always says that, oh, well, do you regret voting for Trump? Well, I'm be honest with you. Yeah, Kamala was talking about basically war with Russia. And basically, I guess you guys could say, oh, he said he's going to bomb the shit out of them. Well, I guess you could say that Donald Trump was talking war with Iran. And if you ask me, like said, well, if you either like no way out, A or B, would you rather go to war with Iran or Russia? I'm gonna pick Iran every goddamn time. Like, you are tripping. They got nukes. You bruh. Russia got nukes. You tripping? Okay. So that's the problem too. If it was about which war I wanted to pick, sadly, I would still have to choose Trump because for some reason, I'll be real with you, these Adams were bloodthirsty for war with Russia, which is insane, by the way.
This is directly connected to what he would like to see. Same thing with Ukraine. It's about Putin's message. I think some of these protests.
Now, let me go ahead and repeat exactly what Nancy Pelosi is doing, but the MAGA version. So, yeah, anybody who supports, having a deal with Iran and signing a deal and coming to peace, they're Ayatollah supporters. They're Islamists, those fucking mullahs. Like, how you going to trust somebody like that? So, yes, if anybody calls for the stopping of the war in Iran, if anybody calls for any type of peaceful negotiation with Iran, they're just Islamists. And you shouldn't listen to them. Like, bro, they support the mullahs. It's obvious, bro. They're supporting Iran. There you go. There's a MAGA version of what Nancy Pelosi said.
Protesters are spontaneous and organic and sincere. Some, I think, are connected to Russia. And I say that having looked at this for a long time now. As you know,
think some of these protests are Russian plants?
I think they're plants. I think some financing should be investigated. And I want to ask the.
Oh, God, do me a favor and double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support. And also, you guys on Rumble, make sure you like the video as well. And let's get right back into it. If you've got any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, you could just super chat it in. After this video, I'm going to go ahead and open up the call-in link and get some of y'all on here.
The FBI to investigate that.
It's hard for most people to believe that a person in his or her 80s could be evil, but she is evil, and she's speaking lies. What you heard is totally dishonest. But there's a point to the dishonesty, and that is a war with Iran.
And it's sad to see that MAGA's picking up the same tactics
people in Washington have been agitating for more than 20 years. So are we going to war with Iran? Are we already in a war with Iran? And if so, what are the consequences? Most Americans have no idea. It's not even something they're thinking about, but they should be. Joe Kent is a former Green Beret. He's a combat veteran who lost his wife in one of these wars. He's running for Congress in Washington State in the 3rd Congressional District, and he has an interesting and highly informed perspective on this, and we're honored to have him join us now. Joe Kent, thank you so much for coming on today. So when you see all of this, and you hate to be cynical, but you really can't be too cynical when you're dealing with the war party in Washington. It did seem like a coordinated response very quickly, moments after the announcement of the tragic death of these American servicemen.
Oh, sorry, guys. Just paused.